Hi Poopsies, welcome back. It's me, Tony Bomboni. Welcome to your ASMR session, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. So, I am going to first start this video off opening a new letter / package from a Poopsie that's sent to my PO box. Let's see what it is. It's from an Emma. It says thank you on it. Thank you. Let's see what's inside. It's so very thoughtful that people will actually take the time to send me something. It's so cool. I miss doing this. Alright, what is that? Let me see. Oh my gosh, I knew this was bound to happen. Someone sent me Marmite. I was just thinking about this stuff the other day. I have never tried it. I don't know why it's not focusing. There we go. Marmite. Oh my gosh. And there's some bubble wrapping with a letter and some things in here. Let's read the letter first. To the wonderful Tony Bomboni. These angels have flown to you all the way from Gloucester, England, famous for where Harry Potter was filmed and where Beatrix Potter got her inspiration for The Tailor of Gloucester. I have also enclosed a sample of Marmite, something quite famous and popular in the UK. Oh, I thought it was in Australia. Probably there too. Although it isn't for anyone. After all, their slogan is you either love it or hate it. You probably have the sweets candy enclosed in the US, but I thought you might enjoy them. On a final note, thank you for all the hard work you clearly put into your videos. I found your voice so soothing and calming during times of anxiety and stress, so thank you. Enjoy the rose quartz and amethyst angels. I made these by hand, and I hope they bring you some joy. Love and light, Emma Stone XXX. Thank you so much, Emma. That is so very kind of you. And I love the color green. This is like one of my favorite colors. And so it was very nice that you put even the green packaging. It's like you knew. So this is the candy, the love hearts. Let's try one. My Poopsies are so very thoughtful. I'll try the green one. It says ever yours. It's by lovehearts.com. This will go great with what I'm about to eat, or drink, I mean. here are the homemade rose quartz angel. It's like you knew Emma Stone, seriously. Rose quartz and amethyst are my favorites. I don't know why my camera is just not focusing today. There we go. My GoPro is arriving tomorrow, guys, so I'm gonna make a lot of more new and exciting vlogs with that. Why is it not focusing? Oh my gosh. Maybe it's just my shirt. There we go. And a purple amethyst angel. Maybe it's something to do with the camera. Let me see. Sometimes if I switch it off and then back on again, it focuses. There we go. So there's the amethyst. So I'm really excited for these. I do believe there are angels in this world. When I'm going through my hardest times, I think of them and they come somehow through people, through things, through animals, and they save me in the right moments. And when I see the color pink, I think of Savior. And so, I'm thinking of putting these on my keychain. I really feel something special with this, so thank you, Emma. Thank you so much. My first P.O. Box gift. Alright. I love these so much. Thank you, Emma. Alright, so moving on to the story time, Poopsies. I'm just gonna go as far back as I can remember to the last moment in time when I was in university. So this is gonna be nothing but talking. I have a couple triggers to do during this video while I'm speaking, so it's not just me speaking. Normally I like to have something to drink. So that candy made me thirsty, so I'm gonna actually pop one open now. Alright, so my favorite glass cup. And some soda. Pop, root beer, whatever you call it. I'm gonna pop it open with this. These devices always made me laugh like a person just doing jumping jacks. This is the Bulldog root beer, handcrafted original. Alright, I popped that open. I usually wipe the tip. And because I want to be professional, I just put it in the glass. Sit here looking like a bad influence, so a glass is better. Even though it's just pop. Slash soda. Maybe you can hear the fizzing. And the typical sound of Poopsie crunching his seeds. I might actually put him on my shoulder in this video later if he starts acting up. Alright, so we are 10 minutes in the video. Now it's time to do some confessions. My university experience was horrifying. Not horrifying to the point of where when I talk about it, it won't be relaxing. It's just personally horrifying for me. So I'm gonna try to explain as far back as I can think of. So I didn't want to go to college in the first place. After high school, I I'd say even before high school finished, I never planned on going, okay? I thought if I ever end up going, if I don't make a living by the time I'm out of high school, I am a failure. Like, that's what my mentality at the time. And so when I got into university, I felt like such a bum. Like, usually people feel like they've succeeded or accomplished, but I felt bummish. I felt the opposite because I did not want to go. I was so stubborn. I just did not want to go. Like, the life force felt like it was sucked out of me when I went. And so, I wasn't the average kid to be happy about getting the acceptance letter. I was pretty upset. Like, I felt like I was dying inside. But I kind of just pretended to be happy just to, like, make my family, happy. And, so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to act fast. I have to make this channel work. I have to get out of this situation. I don't want to go back to school. And looking back, okay, I was going to say it wasn't that bad. It was bad. But looking back, school isn't as scary as I made it to be. But the fact that I had to dorm with someone, with a roommate, that I didn't even like or talk to, and I'll get into that in a second. But having to deal with meeting new friends and doing new things and going new places, and it was just torturous. The first week of college was so scary. And my family's tried so hard to get me to go into college at all. Like, they were so desperate. They were like, trying to push me to go to maybe a community college first to kind of warm up and get into it and still be with some classmates I'm familiar with. But I said, no, I don't want people to see me after high school. I made a serious pact with myself. I said, you know what, Tony, you better get accepted to this university. And it was a good university. It's actually one of the world's top universities, like top 27. I think it ranked like 27th place. Or no, it had 27,000 people. Anyway, it was like the top 30 at least, I know that. And so it was a really good research college, and it's just somewhere you want to go for science, And so I had this really good teacher in art science, and she helped me get a $5,000 scholarship. And I accepted it. I took as many, those, what do they call it, Pebbles or grants as I could, and got like another $5,000 of scholarships. And so the school year cost $20,000, so I was covered $10,000. Actually, I would think I was covered more. I was covered like $15,000, I think, almost, with this and that. And because I was, not that bad of a student, so they covered some more. And so I think I ended up for that one school year only having to pay like $5,800, to live in a dorm room for a whole year. Basically free food, free transportation on the buses. You live downtown Chicago. Like, I was literally in downtown Chicago for $5,800. Like, like, now that I'm looking back, I'm like, dang, that really is worth it. And it's not like a heavy debt like some students have, like $100,000 in debt after a few years of school. So I thought, okay, $20,000 for 4 years wouldn't have killed me. But regardless, I'm trying to organize my thoughts. I didn't want to finish because I didn't want to be in debt. I wanted to be financially independent, make my own income, move out on my own, get my own apartment. Okay? So that was my goal, my focus. I had to get all those things. I did not have a car back then. I didn't even have my license. I started college when I was 19. And because I'm like on the September cusp, I didn't really make the cut, so I had to it's like if I was born any earlier by like a couple weeks, they would have put me in like I did not want to go to school. Like, I felt like the life was sucked out of me. And the first day, where you have to move in your stuff, I had to meet my roommate, and like, you just have a feeling, like, as soon as I met him, I just was like, nope, this is not the one. This is not like gonna be a good roommate. This is not gonna be a good lifelong friend. I just knew. And as soon as I shook his hand, and even my parents, they felt it, like, his energy, I guess. So, like, the first week, we pretty much got along okay. Nothing special. We still barely spoke. But it was from time to time, hi, how are you doing? Every time you come in the room, you say hi to each other and stuff like that. But after, like, the first month, it was dead silence. Like, we would not speak. We would not even look at each other when we come in the room. It was just, like, nothingness. No respect was there. There was just nothing, no connection, nothing to talk about, nothing to relate to. And so many times I would try to open and initiate conversation with him, but it would be like I'm hitting a wall. Like, he just did not want to approach me or speak with me. And even whenever I'd bring and invite friends in, when I started meeting new people, I met like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 friends within the first month. I was always good at making new friends, like, really fast if I needed to. But it was just like every time I brought a friend, it was like, nope, like, he wouldn't even say hi, like, it was just really awkward at the time. I was filming, like, posting 2 videos a week, and I was trying to keep up with school on top of that, and, like, I needed the money, so honestly at the time I was just like, whenever I came up with a new idea, I had to go get going and make a new video. And some weekends I couldn't even come home because my mom was busy. She had to actually drive all the way to Chicago and back to Antioch, where I used to live, so she would drive every weekend to pick me up to film videos. You guys didn't know that, but that's how I grew this channel, because I kept doing it consistently week by week, no matter if I had university, no matter what. And so I said, you know what, this is gonna work, this is gonna happen, this channel is gonna grow. I was persistent, pushing every single day, checking the channel, make sure everything's okay, and keeping up with schoolwork. And I needed the money. I needed to buy my coffee. Some days I had to stay up till 2 in the morning to do schoolwork, and so I was always good with somehow scraping by some money when I needed. And like, I would come over and we'd buy like donuts or a nice coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, and I'd like treat people to it because they didn't have money, and I had a couple hundred left sitting in my bank. Not much, but I was always kind of like the generous person, like, here, let me buy you something. Hey, let's get some boba tea from the Chinese place downtown. Let's get some frozen yogurt. I would always be the one offering, and because I bore easily, so I need something new to do. So but now that I look back, a lot of times I realize I should have slapped myself in the wrist, because I made a lot of these friends because they were trying to use me for their advantage. Like, they would not want to hang out sometimes unless I offered something. Then they'll be like interested, like, they won't even budge until I say, like, hey, let's get Thai food, or let's go smoke some hookah, and then they're gonna come with, because I offered. And I wish I made more genuine friendships, but I feel like I made a mistake by meeting a lot of the wrong people. They were nice people, don't get me wrong, but I felt like they were also a little bit lost. And they had a lot of friends that smoked other things that I didn't agree with, so I was just like, I couldn't make friends with them. So I'm getting to my point now. I just had to do an upload. Had a headache. YouTube be demonetizing everything nowadays that has like even like a word that, oh my god, that they think is like inappropriate, but it's not. Like the word aim, like, God forbid you tag a word that like the system thinks is inappropriate, it'll get flagged. Anyway, so I gonna start from the not supposed to finish to do till a bachelor's 4-year program. And so they immediately start tightening the belt and giving you a lot of work to do. So every day I was plummeted with homework for as long as I could remember, and it was just a lot. It was just really intense, and I couldn't even keep up, honestly. Some days I always was a believer that I had to spend time to myself, but I am grateful and appreciative of the time that they did discipline me that much, because I wouldn't have such a great work ethic that I do nowadays if it weren't for those times in my life. So I feel like that kind of was like a good training for me, because like even on days when I just wanted to take a nap and didn't feel like doing anything, I was always on the move. And never once I took a nap during the day during those times. I don't remember one day I did. I was always on the move, and you know, as soon as I would be assigned a homework assignment from class, I would make sure to like just go straight to my dorm room. I had tunnel vision, finish the homework so I would have time to do other fun activities later. And I still had plenty of time, I remember, to, well, not plenty, I'm exaggerating, but to do other things during the day, like, you know, play World of Warcraft or there.com and like just chat with a friend and, you know, hang out with a friend somewhere. And so I try to push myself and have a nice balance for that, so I wouldn't go crazy, you know, because there were a lot of days where I was like hours in the dorm room with the roommate, and he was just like draining my energy. Like, there's nothing more, like I even begin to feel it under my eyes when I get drained. There's nothing more draining than having someone sit at home with you that you don't want to be there. And so I'd be so like excited when he had somewhere to go for a few hours at a time. I'd have the privacy, I'd have my ability to do my homework in peace and think, you know, in the quiet, instead of like listening to loud music from his headphones or him thumping on his desk, or, you know, just like little distractors here and there. And he'd sometimes be in and out of the room and, you know, talk with his friends, and it was just like, I made it very clear from the start I didn't like some of the things he was doing. And I was always very clean, you know. He had like socks thrown everywhere, peanuts on the floor, and I just had to vacuum. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, one time I caught him, I had just left for the weekend to go film some videos, right? And I came back and I saw like an imprint of like someone probably sitting on my bed even after I cleaned the sheets. So like I was like so pissed, I just like forcefully like got my sheets and like left the room, and he kind of got the message. So after that we didn't even speak at all. Like, I don't even think we spoke for a good month. You know, like, yeah, it was just really uncomfortable, because you're in like this, now that I'm thinking about it, like I don't know how I did it. Like, it was probably the size of my office, that dorm room, and you know, I had my own bed, he had his own bed, and we shared the same fridge. He had his own desk, I had my own desk. He had his own closet, I had my own closet, but that was about it. And everything was just really, I don't know, it wasn't that cramped, but it was like, I can't believe I lasted so long in that room. Like, I was always kind of like not really going out much anyway, so like to imagine like hours on end in that same room almost every day. Like, there would be some days that I would, you know, not be there, but that would be on purpose. Like, I'd make excuses to myself to go somewhere just to like not to stare at him and like be in the same room as him, you know. And I'm so lucky and glad that I even chose like that one corner in the room. Like, I rushed that day to like put all my stuff in that one desk because I wanted like my privacy. Like, don't you hate when you have a computer and then like the screen can be stared at, you know, from some direction? So I guess he could only see my screen as he was walking in the room, the way it was faced. But then like space. It was bigger, and his desk was like a desk with a shelf on top, so it was like more bigger, tall. Mine was bigger, wide, so I thought it would be better for me, so I just like quickly shoved all my things in there. And it was weird, they even gave us a home phone. Like, what do you need that for? And it was pretty stupid. We had to pay for our own fridge, and I had to like split the money with him, but I think he kind of ripped me off there too. He might have took some money from me, because I remember he was like, oh, it's $80 to rent it for the year, and it probably was like $40. He probably pocketed some, but anyway. So he had some pretty shady friends himself, so he was not to be trusted. But I just remember it was an awful experience. It's like mental abuse, like to be living with someone for a year and they're like not speaking to you. Like, it was just the worst thing ever. And I don't know, like after a while I kind of gave up, and then he tried to like talk to me again, and I'm like just like thinking to myself, like, what are you talking about? There's this one experience that traumatized me the most. There was this lady in the cafeteria who would like, like to greet people and talk to them as they scan their card to go eat lunch. We had this card that we could eat for free. Every meal would be like $7 otherwise. So you can imagine $7 twice a day, 5 times a week, for like 9 months. That would be a lot of money. So that was, I guess, included in the cost of the school living. So I didn't really have to pay for it. So I'd be so nervous around this lady. She just gave me such weird vibes every time I'd have to like approach her and talk to her, and she just made me feel so uncomfortable, so awkward. She gave me like this look, and I don't know what, like she tried to talk to me, and I just like kept looking away, or trying to act cool. It just felt so awkward. Like, she made it feel like every time you come in, like you're checking in to go to like a club or something, and like she would like look you up and down and look at your card and look back at her screen and look back at you, and it was just like, girl, you see me 30 times already, just give me the dang card. So she was always trying to initiate conversation, and that drained me even more, and I got so fed up. I was like there were even times like I wouldn't just purposely like buy myself lunch somewhere just not to face her. But then there were times I was in a hurry to do homework and I had no choice. I was like doing phone calls and putting out fires, and there was some drama in the ASMR community, and I had to do a Skype call with an ASMR artist about it. And like, guys, the amount of drama and work I had to do during that time for a 19, 20-year-old was insane. I felt like a CEO of a company, and so I had all this to keep up, and then of course a phone call from a parent, and then talking about some more drama at home, and I was like, you know what, I need a reality show. So I'm sure a lot of you can understand when there was a lot to do in college, I'm sure, and I kind of was looking back and thinking to myself, like, wow, I had no problems in high school compared to now. So yeah, and then I went to ask my roommate, we'll name him Fred, and he was like, so, I was asking about the cafeteria lady, he's like, so you just say hi to her, what's the big deal, jeez. I'm like, excuse me. And so I was so fed up, like it just, from there it just got out, and I just made an excuse to like go to some friend's dorm room and just do homework. But like, actually I went in some like laundry room and I was just doing homework there. It was ridiculous. Like, there would be times I would literally just go to the laundry room. There were 2 laundry rooms. There was one like a 5-minute walk from my dorm room. I had to go down a long hall past all the dorm rooms on my floor, take an elevator actually like 5 stories down, and then walk down another hall, and then there was the big laundry room. That was my favorite one because it was so far and hidden in the basement. And there was another one that I walked another 5 minutes, took the elevator down, walked these long halls. It was like a maze. You had to go left and right and left again, and then push these people away, but I'm thinking of you sometimes, Shania, and I hope you found your peace, and you gave me a lot of peace. She was kind of psychic, so she would always be intuitive, and I was like 19 or 20, she was like 28 at the time. Yeah, she was really cool. We'd always talk on the phone for like hours, like almost every day, and it just felt like the high school friend I never had, and I miss her a lot to this day. Sometimes I wonder, like, there was like no reason for me to push her away at all. I just was like being really selfish back then. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear about this guy overdosed and passed. I remember she was talking about him, and it almost makes me cry because there would be times I would get visions, and I actually saw a vision of him preparing like an engagement for her, and it was really tragic what happened, really just tragic. There's a big problem with abuse in the East. It just passes on, and it's just tragic. But anyway, she's in my prayers. And so I had another friend from New Mexico, and he was just a cool guy. We spoke about a lot of things, and I was so desperate to move out then. I was even planning, like, what if I move in New Mexico? And like, you guys, like, I went through so many things and thoughts. Like, I wanted to buy my own like trailer home just to get out of the house. Like, I was that desperate. And I was researching like to buy our own piece of land and like how much it would cost to hook up the water and the electric, and I was just like so desperate to get out of the house. And I had another great friend who we spoke recently. She saw me on Snapchat. EJ, hey EJ girl, I'm not gonna say your name for privacy, but I think she's like in Indiana now, but just like a really good friend, and I miss her so much. And I was so sad to tell her that one day I was like moving to Florida and like I was gonna leave university. We just had such a blast. That one friend, I mean, we went to math class and Italian and not English, what was it? She was just so cool. Like, I had such a blast with this girl. Oh my god. And we would like ditch class. And oh my god, I felt so guilty. Like, we had this just loony toony math teacher, and I thought she was bad until I got like a really strict Russian math teacher, and I was like, oh my god. No, that's what inspired one of my videos of the Russian accent, the strict tutor, math tutor, roleplay. But yeah, and she would always like look up and down and make sure you're doing your answers right on the test. I felt so nervous around her. And one time we got up and left, and she asked us where we were going. Usually they don't care. They're just like tutors in a lecture hall of like 100 students, and like if you get up and leave, you get up and leave. Nobody cares. I would ditch chemistry. Like, there would be days like my mood swings would be so bad. I would like look at the teacher in such aggression, and I would like not pay attention in class. I would just focus like my energy toward them. And I just like stormed out. Like, I got up and left. I got my things, packed them real fast and left, and like a few people were looking at me like I was psycho, but I just like could not be bothered back then. I had such a strong tunnel vision focus. I was like, this channel is gonna grow. I was so stubborn, and sometimes I wish I would have let the universe take over. Things might have flown faster for me had I done that, but I was just like every day persistently, like I didn't want to let go because I was so scared to lose that visualization thought. And now in life, I get things more faster and easier flow because I learned to balance visualizing for a bit and then letting go and letting the universe taking over. Working hard for a bit and then letting the universe taking over. You can't work hard every day, otherwise your thing's never gonna come. What you seek, you're just gonna end up working until you die, unfortunately. We're here in life to create a balance for ourselves, and so to manifest something, and I've brought this up before, you have to focus on it, maybe for a few days, and then let it go. And then it will happen, okay? So, that's just a brief explanation of it, but that was like one of the longest years of my life because I couldn't let go. I just kept, like, my head would hurt so much. I would get migraines almost every day because I would focus so hard, and I was just very routine-oriented. Virgos are very routine people. Every day I scheduled a time to talk with my friend a couple hours. I would, like, walk the hallways just to be on the phone. I would sit in, like, a nook in the hallway just to be on the phone, and, like, I don't know how I did it. Like, I would sneak in the laundry rooms just to get on the phone. Like, I would just walk around with my cell phone and be on the phone. That's all I would do at that time. And sometimes there would be no reception in those buildings, and so it'd be a bit difficult, but whenever I was by a window, it worked better. I was even in, like, those rooms that had, like, an oven and a microwave for you to cook on. I was even in there by the snack machines, hiding, just being on the phone. And I don't know, I was always so shy, so whenever someone would come in the room, I would just, like, get out and talk on the phone elsewhere. And so, I also can tell you that there was a store, a 15-minute walk was the nearest store from my dorm room. So it was like a 5-minute walk until I even left the building. It was so dang big and a maze. And then another 10 minutes outside, and so many times I had to go in the dead of winter in the cold and just to buy soap. And I was, like, literally, like, this is not even funny. Like, you might think this is first world problems, whatever, that's okay, but I was, like, you would not think maybe, like, oh, Tony, you were never poor or something, but, like, I was poor. Like, I was the typical broke college student, and honestly, I felt even more broke sometimes than other students. Like, I remember my roommate, I was, like, asleep, and then he just woke me up in the morning because he decided to shout on the phone that his $9,000 transaction didn't go through to pay for his college, and I'm just like, I didn't even have $90 in my bank account. Okay, and you're gonna tell me, like, oh my god, my $9,000 is missing. And so I, like, literally, I got, the soft soap brand of soaps. I could only afford to buy, like, the small one. I used that to wash my cup. Because I couldn't even buy, like, dish soap. And, like, you guys think, okay, couldn't you have asked your parents? My parents, even though my biological father was having a successful business, it started slowing down a lot, and he struggled to pay his bills, even went minus. So a lot of times, for some things, I had to cover on his behalf, or they would struggle to get by, like, and maybe they would give me maybe $20 for the week, and that was about it. So, like, that would cover, like, maybe some extra snacks I needed. I always needed some, like, coffee to get by and do homework. And guys, like, I was so tired. Like, I remember one time I fell asleep doing homework. I didn't think that was possible, but I was head first in my laptop, and my roommate woke me up. He was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh." So I did need coffee back then because I was just up hours. I was getting maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, especially with the chemistry homework, and I'd have to invite my classmates to help me do the homework just to pass, which I ended up failing by 2%. They would make us get up at 6 in the morning on Friday to go to a lab, which was like a 10-minute walk outside in the crisp cold of the morning. Chicago downtown by the lake is so cold. And I just hated it. Like, they did not explain anything well. My TA did not explain. My tutor did not explain. The lecturer did not explain. They were just so bad at their job. And, like, one time I even walked out of the room in chemistry, and, like, I was so mad at my TA. She was like one of those, like, oh my god. She'd be on her phone, and anyway. She was very smart, but I just didn't like her. We didn't vibe. She kind of reminded me of Trisha Paytas. Yeah, she gave those vibes. Bleach blonde hair, and yeah, the clothes and everything. Very smart girl, but we just didn't vibe. I don't know, I just did not like her at all, and she would always make us feel dumb, and whenever someone had a question, she would be like, look at us weird, like we didn't know what we were doing, so I don't know. Anyway, besides that, so I was getting to my point. Yeah, I had to use soft soapus to wash my dishes. I only had like a cup for tea and a thing to warm the tea with and like 2 spoons. That's it. That's all I had. And I remember it took me a while until I even got that cup. Like, whenever I could get money, I was just like slowly buying things I needed. Like, one month I'll buy this thing, the next month I'll buy that. And I always felt guilty to even spend like more than $20 at once. And then later down the months, when the channel grew, and then when I was almost out of school, I started buying more things that, like, I started buying myself cologne, and I was buying vitamin E, fish oil, and butt cream to like grow my butt. Don't ask. But I would like apply this cream every day after showering, and then I would take fish oil and vitamin E, and that was supposed to help grow it. And I think since then it actually filled itself a bit more. But that butt cream was not cheap. It was like $40 for a small tub, and I had to refill it constantly. And so, I started splurging and spoiling myself more as the checks grew. But like, things for videos, props and stuff, I was responsible for that, and I didn't like asking my parents for money. I haven't asked my parents for money since I was 16. I've always paid for myself ever since I was just turned 17 and onwards. I've been buying my own things and never once have asked them. So I just like being independent, and because I feel like if I ask someone, then like I owe them something back, and I didn't want that burden on me. And so I guess that's why I was always giving of people, because I felt like I just didn't want to be anyone's burden. I was always anxious. I had the social anxiety, and like I even had this one friend, we'll call her Marabella. She invited me to go smoke hookah with friends and go for drinks and stuff, and like I went, but it was just a bad influence, and I felt like I was always surrounded by that, like people going to like a Halloween party, and then they were offering all sorts of things that I dare not say on here, and I never took them, thankfully, but it was just bad influences left and right. So, the devil tries to get you everywhere and tries to take you off your path, and I was just so focused spiritually growing and evolving, and I was just doing my own thing, honestly, not caring what people think, not caring if someone said I needed to get out more, and I always kind of made excuses for myself and said I had to do a lot of homework to do and had to run the business, but I do realize if I made time, I would have had time to do more exciting things that life had to offer, because that college had a lot to offer. I just didn't want to do it, but most of them were social growing. I started blossoming then, coming into my own. And then there's just so much I want to share with you guys. Like, I can't even remember anymore. But yeah, going back to how poor I was. Gosh, guys, like, I remember I was even hesitant to buy a coffee. And like, a lot of times when I drink coffee nowadays and I think of that story, it makes me cry. I'm not gonna cry now, but I remember I was like not even wanting to go to Dunkin' Donuts just to buy a coffee because like I was hesitant to give those $2-3 for a cup of coffee every morning so I could save them for other things. So it kind of got me emotional to think about nowadays, like when I drink a coffee, how blessing it is to have a cup of coffee, because some people are hesitant to even buy that cup of coffee. And so yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know how I did it. But looking back, I'm proud that I went through all of that, and it was a learning experience for me. And even if it was only a year there, and then after that I ended up going to community college for massage therapy, and that's really when things started blowing up for me, and I was then able to move out on my own after another year of that college. But yeah, like somewhere in between, I kind of felt like I had no identity, like when I was taking my prerequisites before massage, and I was just like, you know, what do I do next? And I grew even more spiritually. And during this time, like I just kept moving from house to house. Like I went from a house to an apartment to a house to an apartment and then out to a house. So it's like I had to do a lot of adjustments and growing with time and learning from mistakes, and I'm constantly learning, and I thought like I would be done learning after even massage, but life is constantly a school, and you constantly learn new things and have to meet new people, unfortunately, and that's the thing that scares me the most, is meeting new people. Let's pull out some of these stones, shall we? These stones make me feel so grounded. Back to earth. But yeah, guys, there were just little moments in between that, like when I had the Italian teacher who pretty much told me that I'm useless and never pay attention in class, and she would say it over email. It was just mental abuse. That college was full of teachers who were incompetent. And I found out actually a few of them either left or got fired, thankfully, because students reported them. And I think one of them even like did something really bad to a student. And I remember this one girl got physically abused by some random guy that just broke in the college. It was a really scary time, and it was like literally a few doors down from my friends who I always go to, and thankfully one of my friends of friends caught them, trampled them down, called the police, and he ended up going on Dr. Phil, and I think they gave him like $5,000 in a vacation with his girlfriend. It was crazy. So I had a very positive growing experience, yet negative experience in that college, and I don't go there often, but anytime I drive past there, I always think like I made it out alive. I don't know how some of these teachers qualify to be teachers in universities, but a lot of them are not qualified. And so it's up to the students and their grades to see who's qualified. And I think it was a rule in that school, if they didn't make a certain percent average, then they had to be on like probation. And then if they still couldn't keep up with kids' grades, then they had to be on leave. So it's just funny to think about, like, when you're in university, living in a dorm room, what a blessing it is to even go to, like, a store, like Target. Like, I remember I planned a field trip to go to the store with my friend because we had no car, you know. Her father, I think, was like a taxi driver, and I mean, we just didn't have a car. We didn't have a life, you know. Like, well, at least me, I didn't. She could get out because she didn't have a dorm room there, but she could always go home. But it's just like such a blessing to have a car to be able to go somewhere. So I was so excited to take a little walk, like half an hour outside, just to get to like a Target or a Marshall's and a Michael's. And it was just such a fun time to like do new things in that sense. Like, that was my form of excitement, was to go to a coffee shop and go to Marshall's, like, not going to the club, you know. The one time I went out around midnight for drinks, like, I just came back a mess, and it's just not meant for me. And I was so desperate for money at the time. Like, I even ended up getting, like, daddy for a short while, and he gave me like $500. Yeah, it was bad. I don't know what I was thinking back then. But I ended up breaking up with him. I was like, I can't do this. My morals are way too high. And to this day, I think of still paying him back, even though he's rich AF. So I ended up buying a camera and a microphone for the channel with that money. I was like, you know what, I might as well invest it somewhere, right? I flew all the way to Washington, D.C. over a weekend just to see him. And I had to lie to my chemistry teacher that my uncle passed away. I was a bad kid, I'm telling you. And like, she was super hesitant to let me go, but she did anyway. I had to lie to the taxi man. I had to lie to my roommate who was wondering where I was. My parents were calling me like crazy, wondering where I was, and I just turned off my phone and pretended my battery died for the weekend, and it was just a mess. The only person that knew was my best friend. And I told her the address and his phone number and his name, and if I was gone for a certain time and I didn't reply back, she would call the authorities. And the truth tea is that friend was $9,000 in debt, and I went for her. I tried to ask him to loan me that amount to pay her debts, but he said he probably would have given it to me if it was my debt, not some strangers, so that's where I kind of failed my mission. Looking back, like, literally the things I did were ridiculous. Ridiculous, I'm telling you. And now I live where the sun and sand is. But yeah, guys, tell me what your university or college experience was like. I'm trying to think of if I missed something. I know I must have. There's something that I'm not saying or bringing up in my whole experience, but yeah, I ended up passing at least all my courses except for the chemistry one, and I used those credits to get into community college to finish for massage. And I never actually ended up finishing a degree. I ended up switching from earth science to, I think I wanted to do like neurosurgeon or whatever. And then that was like a week later I switched it to criminal justice because my friend wanted to do it, so I was like, let me do this. It's an interesting topic. And then I just dropped out. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I remember there was like 1 or 2 days of like minus 40, 50 degree weather, and students got like frostbite. The hospitals were filled. and I didn't go to class, and she still had class. I just didn't go. I didn't care to go. And I just didn't want to go because I had this really strict English teacher. I just felt like everyone hated me at the time. I don't know why. I remember I had free health insurance through the school. And it was like almost full coverage for a lot of things. And this doctor prescribed me meds for acne. I had like a lot of acne, and it went away. And I remember I couldn't go outside a lot of days in the cold or the wind or the sun. My face would be red after like 5-10 minutes of exposure, so I'd always go out with like a scarf or a hoodie to try to cover my face. I just stayed out of the sun for so long, and all that work was worth it because now I don't have to show acne, I'm always on camera, so it's just embarrassing. And they even had this cream that I had to put on top of my skin, and that was causing the redness from the exposure. I was just doing a lot, guys. Like, I was doing a lot. I was even doing teeth whitening, like that, and the booty cream, and the and then I wanted to bleach my hair. It was just a lot, guys. I did the most, okay? I did the most. What can I say? I cared, I guess, more about my appearance back then than nowadays. Like, nowadays, I could care less. I used to think of all things, like I wanted to get a nose job and all this stuff. That never happened. And I guess maybe that's why I couldn't make much friends or connect with them after a while, because I talked about these things and they couldn't relate to me, like a lot of times people talk about not so much what they're going to do in school, but like other things that like typical teens or 20s talk about, and I was just talking about things people maybe talk about when they're 30, 40. Which is probably why I ended up attracting a friend who was in their 40s. And all these boyfriends were older because I just felt like I didn't belong, there. So my whole experience there was just a messy one. There was a limit of classes you could ditch, and I ditched like the most I could out of each class every year, like just to get by, just to, do other things. And so, I don't know, guys. That was just a nightmare. I never want to go back. Never plan to, never will. I'll do anything I can not to. I've always said that since the day I left. And that's just that. I'm going to be so mad if I look back on this and I realize that I didn't mention anything. I'm trying to think like on a timeline, like August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. I was just so happy to leave. I remember I had to film a few videos in the school itself, like outside of my dorm room. I filmed one in my dorm room. I filmed one in like this hall, the study hall. Okay, sorry guys. Oh my gosh, the battery overheated. I've been filming for over an hour and I didn't even realize I could just go on and on all day. I want to mention one more thing. We were sitting out somewhere bougie as ever. Not really, but someone bougie was there. And they were admiring my chihuahua, and they were like looking at the necklace thing, the collar with the tag, and they were like, oh, is that like Lauren Tracy or something like that? I'm like, no, it was only $3. And she's like, oh, never mind, that thing would have been like $50. Excuse me. And then she proceeded to just stare at us the whole time. Felt really awkward. So when I think about my university experience where I was hesitant to buy a coffee, it really humbles me down never to become someone like that. Ever. Alright guys, please be sure to subscribe, like this video, share it, add it to your playlists. Leave a comment below. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow my vlog channel. Follow my Patreon. Be a sponsor of the channel. Do whatever you Eastern time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. New York time. I upload around then, okay? So just refresh my channel, youtube.com/ASMRER. Same with the vlogs, I post every day, youtube.com/storytime.